Hey, this is Glendon with Making Money with Storage Unit Auctions. This is going to be a different type of video. Going to discuss some things that very few people even bring up. I keep going on and on and on about how many people are out there in the storage auction space, and it's kind of crazy. And now that I have a little help and I'm redefining what I do and actually trying to make it better, I'm going to give you a few laws that I used in my business. There are 12 laws, and they're all important. The first law is data is everything, more important than money. In this business, information is king. One of the things that gave me a super edge was I'm an information junkie. When I used to work for Rent a Crate, that was one of the tenets. We just had to glean so much information from various sources. It wasn't funny, so it was just a natural habit. And it's not just enough to gather the information, you have to process it the right way. But I would say, I would have to say law number one is the most critical and was pretty much responsible for maybe 75% of my success. That is just how strong that is. Law number two, infrastructure is more important than product. The best items languish in a poor logistical system. And that's something that's really is pretty problematic and widespread in the storage auction business. You have people, they have products, and they don't have the right channel. So the logistics are all screwed up, and it seriously hampers how much money they can make. The third law is at some point you will decide to win. In the storage auction business, I watched many people who've never ever made that decision. They thought their success was predicated on who showed up and essentially just luck. There was no methodology, there was no forethought. It was just show up and hope to win. When you make a decision to win, it's going to stimulate other areas of your brain. It's going to make you look at things in a different manner, and ultimately you will win. I made that decision after Ma Clampett just ripped my ass one day. I couldn't get anything, and to add insult to injury, she was talking smack. At that moment, I decided to win. And part of winning was coming up with a process that they didn't have. This is something that you could still do because in the storage auction business, everything is regional. What they do in one state, they may not do in another. Like take New York City. Washer and dryers are pretty rare. Here in the South, they're pretty plentiful. But you must at some point decide to win or you'll perish. It's that simple. Law number four, base hits are more important than home runs. In TV parlance, there's just always going to be something unique and exciting and of significant value in a unit. I'm here to tell you that is simply not the case. What you're going to come across the vast majority of the time is going to be regular, run-of-the-mill stuff. And that's not a bad thing, because if you obtain this regular, run-of-the-mill stuff and you get it at a significant discount, you can convert that to cash. Is buying a unit for $150, $200 and making a $300 to $600 profit sexy in TV land? No, it's not. But in real life, those are great returns on investment. And if you did that, taking the $200 example and making a $450 profit, if you did that 10 times a month, that's $4,500 profit. That's great money in today's economy when the average household brings home less than 60 grand a year. That's working 40 hours a week, 160 plus hours a month. So, bring in your expectations. Everyone in this country is not rich, so every unit that you get is not going to yield a jackpot. It's just not going to happen. But if you have a high percentage with base hits, it's going to work out. It's just a matter of reordering your thinking on how this should be done. Law number five, speed is essential in all aspects of this business. One of the things that people don't understand and they apply this law to is buying a unit, getting it cleaned out really quick, and selling the best items. you're missing a few points. One of them is you will be better off having a speedy sort than what I call cherry picking your unit. I used to watch people do this all the time. They would load up a unit and I would literally see them tossing aside valuable items. Were they super high value items? No, they were marginal, low value items. $1 to $25. They were just grabbing the stuff that they can get a quick 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. The thing is, you leave a lot of money on the table when you don't learn how to properly sort a unit as fast as humanly possible. That's where you make your money. And I have bought stuff or hauled off stuff for people that has made me more money than they made on the unit. And they didn't even know it until, well, they still don't know unless they're listening to this video. But you will be amazed at what a pair of Coach boots will go for. You'll be amazed at what an ink pen would go for. As I read over blogs and some of the questions that I receive and just look at the material of other people, I see many of the same mistakes that I made early in my career, and some vets who are still making the same mistakes. It just boggles my mind. Really, there's so much that you have to learn about the speed aspect in setting up your business. Because if you don't, you will not make it in this business. You won't be there long, or you will be in a land of mediocrity. And who wants that? Law number 6, who you know is just as important as what you know. There's been a preoccupation on stuff. What you get out of the units. Should you get antique books and read up on this stuff, which I don't recommend. Because sure, you can read the books, but unless you're going to deal seriously in antiques outside of units, you could go for months, maybe even years, and not even see any of the stuff that you study. But knowing the people of your auction tribe, of your auction circuit, is extremely important. I'll give you a quick story. This was during my newbie days, and there was this one guy named Jack. I didn't really know a lot about Jack. Jack had a big blue van and anywhere in 10,000 in one pocket and 15 to 20 in the other. If he wanted a unit, you weren't going to get it. I was just talking to Jack and sharing my dreams and aspirations of becoming a storage auction hound, and Jack took a liking to me, and actually he protected me, and he let me get some great units because, unbeknownst to me at the time, Jack was getting ready to get out the business, and he needed someone to sell a few things to. He needed a little help, and we worked out some deals, and I did some stuff for him, and it gave me an inside track. And also, there were some people that Jack didn't like, and some of those people were the same people that I didn't like. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And because I knew him, it gave me a leg up. But when you meet someone like that, unless you're really hustling, they're not going to pay you any attention. But definitely don't discount the smoozing at the auction trail. It can make you money. It did in my case. Law number 7. Most of your inventory is like ice cream on a warm day. This comes back to the speed part. But one thing about inventory, understand very few items that you can ever buy are going to go up in value. Sure, a few rare items will, but the majority of the stuff's not. So that's something you should be very, very aware of when you're dealing with your inventory, because I've had items that I forgot about or were buried under something, and I put it up on eBay and realized that, wow, if I had sold this 2 months ago, I could have made more money. That's a pisser. That's definitely a pisser. But for the folks who have what I call holditis, and they're just kind of holding and holding and holding, sometimes that holding is not going to serve you well. Just know that is a crucial tenet of the resale business, and it doesn't really change much. Law number 8, buy to win. Most buy what they can move. This is a situation that I watch for years, and I actually see it sometimes even on the show Storage Wars, which is kind of funny. Most people buy based on what they can move versus what's really valuable. And it's a subconscious thing. So you could go, oh no, that's not me. I'm telling you, because very few people go out and get a killer unit like a 10 by 30, a 10 by 40, and then figure out what they're going to do. It's a lot of stuff. So if you don't have a plan before you even go out there, you're going to miss tons of good units. And it's funny, for many, many years, I actually got a discount because I bought on what's valuable versus what I can move. So that's just something you should remember. Law number 9, you have no friends in this business. None. Understand, anytime that someone befriends you in this business, it is a quid pro quo movement. Don't ever mistake the fact that you have friends in this business. Even the people you're close with and chummy with will screw you on a good unit. I have seen many people just fall prey to that. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. That is the natural order of things. One of the things that I see in the storage auction space is a great deal of bitching and whining about people should help each other. And I keep saying, this is a competition. And the ultimate goal is for one man to be standing with a lock in his hand to put on the unit that he just won. That is the ultimate goal. You could develop certain business arrangements and you could develop certain business practices with certain people, but actually having friends out there on the auction trail, it's not going to happen. Every now and then you might get a sycophant. You're buying a lot of units, you'll get a few people to kiss your ass, but they're only going to kiss your ass until they're in the position to smack your ass. Know that. Just know that. And that is something that I think a lot of people in the namby-pamby world of romper room forget. This is war. And sure, you can be civil to each other. And sure, you can even have lunch with each other on occasion. But the reality is, everybody out there, including the auctioneer, is out to get you. And it's cool. Just reorientate your thinking and you'll be fine. Law number 10, you must use social media to be successful in this business today. Things have changed a lot. When I was in the business, there was no Twitter. YouTube was very young, say 2006, and really, I barely watched it. Twitter, Facebook, none of that stuff made any sense to me, and I never even jumped on until later. But due to using social media for this business of publishing, I really wish I had these tools when I was in the storage auction business. There's so much that you can do. So if you are a social media scaredy cat, get over your fear. Get over your fears, get over your fears, get over your fears, because this is stuff that can make you money. And it also takes a while to build. So if you're at a point where you're just kind of dipping your big toe in the storage auction water, this is the time for you to actually get a Twitter account and actually learn something about it. I actually spent a little money to learn about Twitter because seriously, I just didn't get it. It didn't make any sense to me. But it is just a very strong part of the landscape today. And unless you're out there in Timbuktu or some little small town where everyone knows you, you're going to need social media. I'm just here to tell you, you're going to need it. Get on board, learn how to use it, and make it a very effective part of your marketing and business plan. Law number 11, everything will sell. It is a matter of markets and pricing. I remember a guy once told me, one of the old flea market guys, he said everything has a price and everything has a place. Now the hard part is figuring out what are those two items. And it just kind of threw me because it changed how I looked at the business. I'll be honest with you. I made way more money off of cheap stuff than I did off the big hits. Way more money. And the reason is simple. It was more consistent, and that's what you get the majority of the time. So many people are looking for an easy way out that they ignore the very thing that is standing in front of their face, waving its hand saying, hello, hello, this is what I can do for you if you learn how to dance with me. It's just that important. Law number 12, if you're always losing in the storage auction game, your foundation is weak. I have actually gotten in pissing wars with people and quadrupled my money by blowing money fast, essentially because I didn't want so and so to get a unit. I'm serious. I've done that. If you're out there and you understand how bidding goes, it will happen to you once you get some legs under yourself about this business. But if you're always losing, it's your foundation. I see many people who expressed a lot of dissatisfaction with their purchases, and essentially they're kind of heading out there blind. They don't have a foundation. They don't have a plan, because you should be winning more than you lose. Is this a guarantee that every unit is going to be a winner? No. You're going to buy units and they're going to be crap. But you should win 90% of the time once you learn this business. I've seen estimates that 80% of the units are garbage. I would take exception with that, because I have bought units that I thought was filled with garbage and actually made money. One man's trash is another man's treasure. You really have to look at this business with a different kind of eye. And sometimes you have to remove yourself out the process. But understand, once you get your game plan tight, once your foundation is tight, once your knowledge base is tight, you should win realistically 75% to 90% of the time. Those should be your ratios. If you're losing 90% of the time, you do not have any idea what the hell you're doing. And that's the truth. All right, so this is the deal. These are the 12 laws. These are the things that I use to govern me and guide me. And this is just pretty much a brief overview, because they are much deeper than what I just put out here. Way deeper, because some of these laws would actually be a book unto itself. But that's the deal. You got to have a compass in this business, because I was winging it a little bit, and then I really had to sit down and I did a lot of study. I studied a lot of business blogs. I studied a lot of business books, and I took all that information and put it in a funnel, and outside came this process, because I'm telling you, this business is going to be hot for years to come. One of my biggest fears were that once the shows came on, that there would be all this legislation and the units would stop. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. People are like, hey, you don't pay your bill, you lose your stuff. I don't care. So that's the deal. All right, this is Glendon. We're making money with storage unit auctions.